I don't know about you, but as a designer, I dream of Gwyneth Paltrow.
I'd never dream of Gwyneth Paltrow. I like the Jeffrey Veen choice better.
I don't know about you, but as a designer, I dream in colour. And when we start to add colour to a web page, it's important that we understand the 5 different colour values that we can use to add colour. So first of all, I'm going to drop in a style element. And the first of our examples, which is of colour name.
Color names are interesting because there are many, many color names that are browser-based. There are only 16 color names in the current CSS2 specification. The CSS 2.1 specification introduces a 17th, and that is the color orange. All 17 color names that are standardized can be found in the bookmarks.html file in the source folder on your CD-ROM, or if you have premium subscription to the file library.
Next up, we're going to have a look at what is colour value, and that of hexadecimal.
Hexadecimal is base 16. This is simply another form of mathematic computation, and it uses a different base number in calculating how these values are represented. As you can see, there are 6 values in the actual color. In this case, they're all zeros. But it's important to understand that the first 2 are a pair that represent the red color. How much red is going to make up that color? In this case, none. The next pair represents green, and how much green is going to be mixed in to get the color that we ultimately want. And in this case, again, there is a value of 0. The final pair is the blue values and how much blue will get mixed in to this additive process that will result in the color that you see on the screen. So essentially we have our RGB values there, and in this case, since they're all 0, it is ending up as what we know as black.
Now we can also use a shorthand for hexadecimal. And here you can see that the shorthand is composed of only 3 characters rather than the original 6. And that's because if we remember back to these being pairs, if the 2 values in the pair are the same, we can abbreviate those into a single character. So for example here, the 00 abbreviated to 0, and again, and again.
Exactly. And the only time that this can't be done, obviously, is when you have a value such as 080808 or something of that nature, or you have letters in there that are not paired. You end up unable to do this. So you'll have to use, in that case, if you're using the hexadecimal form, you're going to have to use all of the pair values. So you'll have to have 6 total characters as a result. Interestingly, all web-safe colors are able to be shorthanded. So anybody following the web-safe palette can use the shorthand hex method. Just a little sidebar commentary. It's interesting here at lynda.com because Lynda was the one who first did a lot of the work on figuring out that original web-safe palette. But since that time, we have learned a great deal about color and color representation and what is really safe or not safe to use. And for a very long time, people felt that that was the only way that they could design, and they were limited to the palette that is known as the web-safe palette. But the fact of the matter is that today's computers have progressed far beyond the capabilities of the early web days, and now most people's desktops have support for millions of colors instead of only 256 total system colors. So web-safe color is less of an issue these days than it ever was, unless you are designing specifically for very low color support environments. And in that case, you may want to consider the web-safe palette because it prevents or tries to prevent what is known as dithering, where a color that you might say yellow will appear yellow on a good screen, but then on one of these older computers that could only support 256 colors, you might have that color calculated as a bright neon, which could totally mess up your design.
Most of the modern graphics programs like Photoshop and Fireworks will have support for hexadecimal values. But for those people that are coming from more of a traditional background, perhaps in desktop publishing, there are 2 other ways in which we can apply colour. The first is by using traditional RGB values. And here we can see that we have 3 characters, red, green and blue, and there are 255 steps between 0, as in black, or 255, as in white. And here, again, we're using 0, 0, 0 to display our colour as black. One final example is the RGB %. And here, like the example above, we're using RGB values for red, green and blue, but we're using percentages. So here we have 100% of red, 100% of green and 100% of blue to build up into our total colour. In the next exercise, we're going to take a look at how we can actually apply colour to page elements.